Alright, so basically we are going to look at the application part here. So in earlier video we have seen that we went through all this. We read it. We read upon declarative component based and learn must write everywhere. We read upon a simple component. We read upon a stateful component, and we read upon an simple component and stateful component. Yeah. So now we have to look at an application. So if you, I'm not sure if you can see the whole picture. I'm not sure if this works. Anyway, so here what happens basically, there is a component called to-do app and there is a component called to-do list, and we are just adding to-do app component in to-do example, which is here, right? So this whole thing is to-do app, and here we'll see a to-do list, right? So this is a to-do list. So let's see the smaller component. We'll see that this is being used somewhere. So it extends react component. Every component has to, and then there's a function render. We are not using constructor here because we are not dealing with props and state. Props we are directly going to access via this dot props, and we are returning a list, and we are saying that the properties has items, which is an array type, array kind, which can be mapped over. So it's an array, and for every item create a list item element, and which has key this, and the value is dot text, and that's what it is. This is dot text, right? Let's go up. Now let's see what to-do app does. It has a state, it has items and text. Items is an array. If you go back and see that items was an array, right? So the state contains empty items array and text, a string. And there are two functions. One is handle change and another one is handle submit. Handle change is when we change something here. Let's see what handle change does. All it does is whatever's, so whenever there is a string here, right, all it does is it just keeps updating the values, right? And as soon as you press add, it will call handle submit button. We can see this here. So what we are doing here is there is a div which has to do, which is this to do string. Then there is a to do list. This is the component that we were mentioning here. So in this component, if you see, the items is the property, and it contains the state dot items. Basically, this to do app component has a state which contains an items array, and that's the array that we are passing as a properties to do list. In the beginning it's the empty array, so that's why we don't see anything. For example, let me update something here. Let me call it a, right? Sorry. Now what happens basically, we have removed that, and because of that the initial state dot items is empty, and that's why we do not see anything here. And there is a form. It is at the same level as the to-do list component. So this form has an on submit. This is a JavaScript event, but for React, basically, if it was JavaScript, the S would have been small case, not the capital as it is here. So React will handle it, and what it will do basically, this is JSX syntax. So this will, as soon as you press add one, this will call this handle submit function. And then we have a label, which is what needs to be done. Let's call it to do, right? Or we can just call it input your task, right? and then there's an input box, which is basically it has ID, it has on change, handle change. So we are not doing anything in handle change, by the way. You can see this, right? We can do something like let's call it div, right? Let's create this dot state dot text, right? And as soon as we add here, you can see that we can see it there, and then it's added. So okay, so this handle change, all it does is it just updates the state. It takes the value, it knows that on change means when the value inside this box changes, then you will call it, this function will be called, and it will update the value in the state, and we are just using that here now. That's why we are seeing it properly. Okay, and the value is, this is a state text, this is the value that we used here, e.target.value, and then there's a button, this which contains basically it takes into account how many items are there and then adds one. That's pretty much it. In handle submit, we just first prevent default, otherwise it would be a post kind of thing. We would be posting it back to server. Since there is no server, I don't think it will work properly if we don't do it. Let's try doing it. Let's do, yeah, so it makes a request, right? And that's wrong. We didn't want to do that. Okay, that's why e.prevent default. This prevents the actual firing mechanism, and it prevents browser from sending the request basically. Um, Again, if text is empty, just return. So you can click it, it will not do anything. This is this part, and then you are creating a new item using text or earlier text and then current ID, and that's what you're adding it in set state basically. Set state function takes a state. It's a function basically which takes state and properties, and it just updates the values basically whatever the older values you have with the new item, and that's pretty much it. You can also add something like let's add added by, and let's call it focus, right? And here, while showing it in to-do list, you can also show item dot added by, right? And let's add, right? So focus this, right? Or you can do focus to finish work on, right? And you have focus wants to work on something, let's call it something, and this is pretty much it. Okay, and you can also see that we also have something called ID. We can say something like at item dot ID at this focus wants to work on SD. Yeah, right. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to stop this stream now.